Hello, friends. I have received several messages from leaders, two of them from CEOs of company, two of them from founders of startups who have grown enough to have appointed a CEO, and from many aspiring leaders. And the common question they want to know is, what can we do to up our leadership skills? So today, and for the next two sessions, this entire week, I am going to talk about how to up your leadership quotient. This leadership skills is a combination of many things, and I'm calling it leadership quotient. So today is part one of that 3 episodes. Now, what is leadership quotient? When I'm defining something that none of the people who have requested has used this term, they've all talked of bettering, improving their leadership skills. So leadership quotient is something which is very simple to understand. Okay. There are three qualities that any leader should have. Okay. Three qualities of leadership. The first and most important quality is strategic leadership. Okay. Strategic leadership comes with a well-defined and well-developed IQ, intelligence quotient. And that really answers the question, the what of things. The second skill a leader needs is people leadership. And this we all know as EQ, which is the emotional quotient. And this is answering the question, who will do whatever you need to get done, who of things. And the last, but definitely not the least important, is what we call operational leadership or executional leadership, X. And that we call XQ. And that answers the question, the how of things. These are the three perennial questions that need to be addressed for most things: the what, the who, and the how of things. Now, whenever somebody has IQ, intelligence quotient, that is the strategic leadership, and EQ, emotional quotient, which is the people leadership, that together defines their personality. And then the emotional quotient with the execution quotient defines their proficiency, their capability. And the execution quotient, along with the intelligence quotient, defines the potential that you have to accomplish things. You're probably wondering why I've not yet mentioned LQ. So LQ is the combination of all these three Qs: the IQ, the EQ, and the XQ. Okay, so if you have these three, then you have the LQ that we are talking of, which is the leadership quotient. So you have to have all three. And the bigger the common area between all three, the higher is your LQ. Okay, so now to have a good LQ or to be a great leader whom people will look up to, you need to develop what I call a leadership identity. Like every brand, like anything that there exists, you need an identity. Okay, so you need to develop a leadership identity. And the identity is about the way you see yourself, yeah, and about how you want others to see you, how you want others to perceive you. So these things, these two are what will define your leadership identity. And to develop and elevate your leadership quotient, you need to establish a unique identity. You won't have a high leadership quotient if you try to follow somebody without truly being that. I think we've talked before also, be yourself at all times. And to address and develop a unique identity, there are certain things that you need to do. And the first and foremost and most important that I have been able to identify from personal knowledge and from a combination of what I have read and in the past on Google and various other HBR is there are certain questions that need to be addressed before you can define your identity. The first one is, who am I? You're talking of identity. We need to know who you are. So decide what you want to be. Okay, maybe you're something today, but that's not the identity you want as a leader. So you need to decide what you want to do, want to be. And once you decide what you want to be, it will give you a lot of clarity and help to define various aspects of yourself. What kind of language will you use? What is the kind of behavior that you will follow? What are the kind of habits that you will adapt and get used to? And what is going to be your overall demeanor when you interact with people? Okay. And once these questions are answered, it will drive your behavior along those lines, because you use that language, you'll behave like that, your demeanor will be like that. So this will drive your behavior. And also, all these things to be consistent, it will drive your future decisions. Once you know this, you have to be able to decide what your values are. So the second question that you need to answer is, what do I value? What are my values that I'm going to adapt? And once you have decided on the values, I have always felt that whenever you decide on something, make it public. The force of people looking at you as a failure if you don't do it goads you and keeps you motivated and to stay on the path. So declare your values. Okay. And this, once you've declared your values, it finalizes what you are all about. Okay. There are people I know whose values, they will not recommend anybody to anyone. Fair enough. Okay. So declare your values and this finalizes what you're all about. And once you have declared your values, you cannot fool yourself, nor can you fool others. So there's no hiding away from that. Okay. And once you declare your values, this will help you to lead with integrity, because those values and your habits and your identity that you are trying to form is set. It will help you to lead with integrity, obeying and staying within the values that you are defining. And also, it will ensure that you walk the talk. Okay. The third question you need to answer is, what is it that you want? If you don't know what you want, you're not going to go in any particular direction. You don't have a goal. So you need to know what you want, and you need to be able to articulate it very clearly, and also know that you have to ask for it. So you need to know how you are going to ask for it, when you are going to ask for it. There is a right time for everything. And when you ask for it, you need to understand what are the requirements for you to achieve and get your wants fulfilled. So the fourth question by logical progression is, what is required to achieve that wants, to fulfill those wants? Okay, so you will need probably to develop or gain certain skills. Okay, you will need to change your mindset. Maybe, I'm not saying that always all this will be required, but depending on your wants, you would need to develop a skill. If you want to be something, you want to be a good financial analyst as a CFO or as a whatever, as a CEO, you need to understand the basics of how to read a financial statement. And therefore, you have to develop that skill, although you might be a tech guy. Okay, and you need to develop the mindset, because when you are doing a tech discussion, it's different from doing a financial discussion. And once you have analyzed what it requires, it will help you to reinforce your wants and reevaluate it, because you may not be ready to gain that new skill or change the mindset so that that want gets fulfilled. Okay, so what is required? And then once all this is known, the final question is, are you willing to do whatever it takes? So are you ready to take the action as required? We just talked about the requirement, gaining a new skill, changing your mindset. There are many other things that would come into the play. But are you ready to take action as required? And to take action, one needs to know within oneself whether you have what it takes to be able to take that action and whether you're willing to take it. So do you have the courage? Most important, a lot of people I know personally in my consultancies and the workshops that I have done, that they lack the courage to work on what is required. They either find it too overwhelming, they find that it's going to take too much time, various reasons. But do you have the courage to do it? And are you ready for the change? Especially when it comes to a mindset change. There are people who are not ready because, like today, if you ask me to make a mindset change, I don't know whether I'll be ready or not. At 68, really, am I going to change too many things? So am I ready to change? And are you ready to make the sacrifices necessary? You're gaining a new skill. You will need to devote time to that. You're going to lose time from your friends or your family. Are you ready to make those sacrifices? And are you willing to undergo the discomfort? Learning a new skill can cause a lot of discomfort. It can cause a lot of mental stress because you find that you are not proficient in something that you need. And are you willing to invest the time and maybe the money? You want to learn something new skill, you'll have to probably get somebody's guidance, or you need to attend some classes. So there's some amount of money involved. So do you have the thing that is required to invest time and money? So are you willing to do all these things? If not, you're not going to be able to fulfill it. Now, some other things that you need to do to up your LQ is you need to always take full responsibility. After all, you are the leader. Whether your team succeeds, and even more so when it fails, you need to take full responsibility. Accept reality, okay, of everything that is there around you. Please remember that an average day is going to be just that, average. So don't set your expectations beyond the average on any normal working day. Okay. And this will also help you to avoid disappointment. Ensure that you are understood. It is your responsibility to be that you make yourself understood there. Be kind and be human. Okay. And practice what you preach. And take good care of your physical and mental health. And whenever I talk of this, I remember Anil Ambani's exercise. Please Google and see what he did when he was questioned about his health. So take good care of your physical and mental health. Because if you cannot take care of yourself, how is your team going to believe that you will take care of them? At the end of the day, as a leader, it is your responsibility to take care of them and of the organization. So if you can't care for yourself, how do they trust that you will be able to take care of them and the organization? Okay. Also, you have to take it all and share it all. Okay, take ownership. I think we just mentioned this. And share successes. Give more than due credit to the team. Don't hog the credit. And have a solid and unbreakable goodwill. If you're following your values with integrity, this will come automatically. Whenever you are handling yourself, handle yourself with your head. Be analytical, think about it. But when you are handling others, think with your heart. Be compassionate. Have empathy. Think of their feelings. That's what's going to make you liked, respected, and trusted by your teammate. And constantly and continuously, non-stop, with absolute diligence, you need to prioritize prioritization. You have to be clear about what you want to prioritize from all the tasks that you have. And make sure that you follow that and convey that to your team. Okay? Put the welfare of others before your own. Sounds great, but doing it is difficult, but you need to do it. Especially your team. As I said, talk to them with the heart. Talk to yourself with the head. And always look through clean lenses. And you know how you clean those lenses? They're best cleaned by being humble with your humility. Don't just hear when your team talks. Listen to them and value your team's inputs. Even if it is not something that will work for you, at least they are making the effort to think and come up. Support and focus on growth. Okay. Care for your team beyond work. I think we've spoken of this. Get into their personal lives in a non-prying manner. Okay. But care for your team beyond work. And respect your own and others' time. This I have seen very often is not considered. But if you remember when we talked of the ones-to-ones, I said you have to remember that they have another job profile and that you need to respect their time. Okay. You need to always lead by example. We've spoken about this also. Okay. You need to lead by example in work, in your integrity, in your care, in your empathy. You do all of this and you set a great example. Be compassionate. We've said this even in this episode itself. Protect, fight, and advocate for your team. Protect your team. You are the barrier or the buffer between your seniors and your team. Protect your team. Fight for your team if they are right. Okay, don't let people just get on to them, and advocate for your team. Even if your seniors feel their team is not good enough for something, advocate for them and try to get them that task. Okay, be focused. Have a great vision and be open-minded. So having said this, what are the other things you need to do? You need to be agile. You can't get stuck on your thoughts. You should not hesitate to change what you have stood for or what you have clarified as your stand, and that too quickly when required. Maybe you were wrong. You listen to some other data and you realize, okay, this is not the right way to go. I need to change it. Be aware and think of changing the world also. Just profits for your company is not enough. You are working in a society. It is that society that is buying, consuming your product or services. Okay, and in that society, compassion, generosity, empathy are all very important and they really matter. And be pragmatically passionate. Why do I say pragmatically? You can't be so passionate that everything else goes for a toss. So be pragmatically passionate. Okay, always remain curious. How, why? Be curious. Hone your analytical capabilities. And this you need to hone to an extent where you can analyze standing on your feet. Encourage creative inputs from team members. Some of these things we've already spoken of in different words, but just to make sure that everything gets there. Be resilient. Give fair and meaningful feedback in the right manner. This is important. You can't fire somebody when he made a mistake. Understand why he made the mistake. Can you help him to solve it? Can you make him understand? Can you do it with empathy? Acknowledge and support the team when the going gets tough. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. And you are the tough one there. Okay? Communicate clearly and effectively. We've said this enough. Articulate everything properly. I do understand that I've given you a long list. Maybe you'll need to hear this episode 3, 4, 5 times, or maybe continuously pause to make your notes. But sit with the list, study it, tick off the items you're already proficient in. Prioritize the remaining items in the order of your priority, and then start addressing them. Take help if necessary. You are never going to be looked down upon when you ask for help. Do not try to do everything overnight. It doesn't happen. It's going to take time, and you have time. It's not that the world is ending tomorrow. It will take time, it will take money, it will take sacrifices, it will take discomfort, as we all said. Be prepared for all of that. So you need to continuously work on improving all the Qs. The IQ, the EQ, the XQ. And when you improve all of this and follow the points that we've just made, your LQ will surely improve. So this is for today. Till next time, as I said, this entire week, all 3 sessions, we are going to talk about how to up your leadership quotient. So, and by the way, if any of you want this list, I can WhatsApp it to you or I can email it to you. Do send me a message either by WhatsApp or by email, and I shall make sure that you get the list so that you don't have to make notes and get it all down. Okay? Enjoy your day. Enjoy thinking about these tips and go ahead, start upping your leadership skills. Thank you. Bye-bye.